Hey, yo! It's 316 day! Woo! I don't drink beer. So I have a nice Canada Dry, which fits, because the next person Steve Austin's gonna face is a Canadian.
Huh?
And since his return to WrestleMania, it's 316 day, we decided to remember to do a paper review first of all, because it's been 4 months, because we're bad at this.
We're very bad at this.
And we're taking a look at WrestleMania 14, where Austin first won the WWF Championship. And, alright, not only was I inspired by Brian Zane doing WrestleMania 15, this one's very nostalgic to me personally, because this is when I got into it. My friends got me into this one. So much so that I bought it on VHS way back in day. We didn't watch this, we watched it on Peacock. And I'm tempted to go watch this to see what the differences were. The one thing I can say right away is this won't have commercials in it.
Yeah.
What the hell? And it really ruined a lot of the pacing on things. Like when they had the little vignette with Freddie Blassie and Gorilla Monsoon and all of them, and talking about how and we did this and now it's their time, and that's a commercial on Peacock. And they cut back and JR is talking about the thing we just watched, which wasn't the commercial. Although there is an interesting thing. I have to go back and check later. Maybe they're able to get away with it here, but typically when they show stuff from the Attitude Era on WWE TV, they have to blur out the Attitude Era logo because that was part of their settlement with the World Wildlife Fund. Not so in Peacock. While the Turnbuckle still used the old WWF logo, which is okay to use, the corner graphic was still the scratch logo.
Yeah.
So, it's interesting. So this is, full-on Attitude Era. It has started. This is the transition period. It's funny, they always say, history has been made, which is, we talk about it now, and it's kind of the cliche because WWE hypes up everything, but
historic.
This is actually true. Because this is, where Austin really skyrocketed, and he changed the business. He's one of the reasons it became, the most popular. This is the most popular era ever. And it's hard to imagine what happened if that didn't happen. How things would go. And, there was a chance it might not have happened because Shawn was notorious around this time.
Just for context about how big wrestling got in the 90s, when I was a kid, I knew Hulk Hogan, and that was about it. My friends, when I was in, first grade and stuff, they would always talk about other wrestlers, but it never retained. I knew Hulk Hogan. Flash forward to the 90s, I'm in high school. Of course I know The Rock, but I know Stone Cold, I know Triple H, I knew the difference between WWF and WCW. I know who Goldberg was.
Yeah.
And I wasn't, not only did I not watch it, I wasn't allowed to watch it. So it's just the fact that it could permeate the pop culture, whatever, and I could learn this shit through osmosis is pretty impressive.
Yeah. That was what got me into it, is I started the same way. I knew all my friends in high school knew about it, and here's to you guys, by the way. I remember being over their house, watching the build. While we didn't watch the pay-per-views, they played Kane's entrance enough, and I remember just thinking the build of, Paul Bearer, your brother's alive, Undertaker! I remember that. I remember seeing Kane just thrashing around fools. I remember the build to Austin and Michaels with Mike Tyson there. So this is it got me into it. The stories got me into it, and I started watching on my own. This was the moment. So it's fun to go back and revisit this thing and be man, it's good. It's also just fun to see them just how scaled down it is. There's just the entrance ramp with the circles, which I feel they should bring back. I like this, but the WrestleMania sign isn't this giant, huge thing that someone can jump off of. It's just this thing above the entranceway. That was it. Excuse me.
Speaking of just low key, just how this started with a tag team
battle royal.
That was the most jarring thing right away, because I really couldn't tell what was happening, because not only am I not familiar with it, but we got entrance for two teams. and then suddenly the ring was full.
Yeah.
But so not only that, but the camera was really far away, especially compared to things later away. So it was just this mass of people moving around, and the JR and King just basically had to tell us who was in there because again, we even without the context of me not knowing who these people were, we wouldn't know.
No, it was hard to keep up. I knew most of them. So I spotted Steve Blackman.
Yeah.
And then Bob Holly and I think it was Bart Gunn's partners, the New Midnight Express. Like, yeah, it is really much like how things have changed. The more things change, the more they stay the same. Because this is like what the Andre Battle Memorial is. Like, it's like the lower mid card and the jobbers all there. Only this is a tag team. And LOD came back with Sunny. And I definitely remember watching this first when I saw Sunny.
Yeah.
Teenage me was very interested in her.
Huh?
She was the most downloaded woman of 1997, I think it was.
I can believe that, I guess.
So, yeah, like, I would go over that, but like it was a mad... The thing that always stuck out to me was how much King was putting over Brian Christopher.
Yeah.
And like I said, we were watching, like, at the time, I don't think anyone knew that was his son. They didn't talk about it on TV, but he was very excited about this Brian Christopher guy. And why did he team up with Scott Taylor, who became Sky Too Hottie? They became too much first, then they became too cool.
Yeah.
So that's how that started.
Yeah.
So.
The more you know.
Yeah.
They brought up Brian Christopher in the light heavyweight match, too, I think it was. Where we talking, oh, Brian Christopher could beat both of them.
Yeah.
And JR's like, oh, I guess.
Yeah. With Tanaka and Aguila?
Something like that, yeah.
And, like, that's fun to watch because, like, at the time, that was, like, you know, that was their answer to the cruiserweights or WCW. But it's so, like, that was like, oh my god, look at all these crazy flips and jumps these guys do. Isn't this weird? This is the spectacle. This is a special thing. And now that's just the style.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that as I'm watching because
we're so used to it now.
Yeah, and, you know, take a shot. What I normally say is all the matches were good.
Yeah.
This was a lot of fun. So.
Yeah. So, like, you know, we're not we don't break things down a lot. You know, again, watch Zayn if you want that, and I always watch his stuff, and I'm like, I'm really interested in when he gets to this one. I'm sure he will at some point. Someone will Patreon him for it, because like he always does the stars and this wrong, but I'm like, you know what, I'm entertained. This is fun.
Yeah. I mean, I know when we've done these, there have been a couple where like, or whatever, but it's like I can't think of anything like offensive or.
Well, there are things that haven't aged well. You know, you finally got to hear The Rock talk during this time, and he made the joke about, like, as long as the interns do stuff morally, because of that. But
but nothing that like made me uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Like the stank face one.
Yeah.
It's like I was like, okay, we probably shouldn't. Like during this match, like King said something about kamikaze, and one of the guys is Japanese. Like, okay, that wasn't great, but nothing to make me go, good.
Well, you had the line of the night, though, when he's talking about Aguila. Like, just like talking about, he better run for the border. And you're like, remember, kids, it's not offensive, it's nonsensical.
Yeah. He's like, okay, Taco Bell because he's Mexican, border because he's Mexican, but what does Taco Bell have to do with running to the border?
That was their slogan at the time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But, you know, it's funny, if you don't know that, what does that mean?
Yeah.
Make a run for the border. That was their slogan in the 90s.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do love, like, when Taka came out, they're like, Taka Michinoto, he's from Japan.
Yeah.
Just Japan.
And the other guy was from Mexico.
Try a little harder.
Yeah.
But, this is always like, I feel we should probably write down the matches, but we just talk over it. Like, we finally got some women's wrestling with Sable and Luna.
Yeah, that's actually the next one I wanted to talk about, because it's funny to me that the frickin' 90s, at least in like these little snippets that I've seen, because I know about the bikini matches, don't cancel me or whatever. But like for the mixed tag team matches, these 90s pay-per-views we've watched are actually more progressive than modern WWE.
Yeah.
Because twice, Sable punched Goldust, and he went down hard. He sold that. And I'm like, yeah, damn.
Which is amazing, because one of the stigmas around Sable is she was not the best worker and didn't look like she knew what she was doing. But, you know, Goldust is professional, and he is one of the best workers, so he knew how to do it. Like, you know, they didn't call it the Sable Bomb, just the Power Bomb. But I was like, it looked pretty good. Luna took it well.
I could say she maybe didn't look good because she was barely in the match.
Yeah.
But when she was, she made it count.
But yeah, it's because she just had little experience actually being in the ring.
Yeah. And I actually like how this match ended with Sable pinning Goldust.
Yeah.
Or rather, the artist formerly known as Goldust.
Yeah, that was during his really weird phase.
Face paint was red.
Yeah. They did some really weird things.
Was that Luna's natural voice, by the way, or did she have to do this every time she was on?
That was a voice she put on because I've heard her talk more natural.
Yeah.
So.
God, I hope she can still talk now.
Well, no, because she passed away a few years ago.
The second I said that, I was like, he's about to tell me she died.
Yeah, that's the worst thing. Let's see what else. Actually, I think this is the first time I remember. Well, now remembering Mark Marrow, because again, I remember him being around. I don't remember him seeing him much because Sable. They played on that was actually happening. Sable got more popular than Mark Marrow because Vince saw her. Yeah. It's like, Mark Marrow. I hear he's good. Oh, who's this though? Yeah. Well, that's my wife. Really, pal.
That sounds about right.
Yeah. So
not that I can blame him.
Yeah, she did go to be on Playboy twice. Yeah. So. But what else? We were gonna skip around the card a lot. There was The Rock versus Ken Shamrock, which is always fun to just say. And you're talking about how the last time we watched the WrestleMania 2000, The Rock was such a good talker, and you didn't get to hear him talk.
Yeah.
Now you did. This was firmly heel Rock.
Yeah. Kind
of arrogant.
Yeah. And this was a good match. It was a solid match, and I actually liked that. Okay, it surprised me that The Rock lost, because I'm just used to him being the most popular or unstoppable thing, whatever. But Ken Shamrock kept using the ankle lock, which I'm used to, happens all the freaking time. What surprised me about this match is it had consequences. Yeah. The ref decided, I also think Ken Shamrock may have beat up the ref.
He beat up several refs!
So that may have helped, but... So, because Ken Shamrock wouldn't let go of the ankle hold, the ref reversed his decision, and The Rock retained his Intercontinental Championship. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, and it really shows how far they've changed things. Because that is a way to you keep the belt on The Rock because you want to keep him for all, and you make Tim Shamrock look like a goddamn killer.
And he
has the crazy eyes.
He was a fucking beast.
Ken Shamrock was always kind of overlooked, but I really liked him.
Yeah.
And those things I don't know if he and Steve Blackman ever had a match, but they should have. Yeah. But they might have murdered each other.
And this also had one of my favorite moments from the thing, and I mentioned this one of the things I had to do, shows I had to watch as a punishment. The match is over. Ken Shamrock won't let go of the ankle lock. So the guy just keeps ringing the bell. Maybe he didn't hear me and doesn't know the match is over.
Yeah, we talked about this. I'm glad that trope has died. It was like, come on, I'm ringing the bell. You gotta listen.
Come on, stop it.
Come on, guys. Come on. Oh, I'm important.
That happened in another match too. I don't remember which one, but it's just like.
Well, let's talk about before this happened, because this is a thing. Right before this match happened, Tennessee Lee was there and introduced Jeff Jarrett.
Yeah.
With oh god, I forget her name. They said it 1,000 times, but she was one of the correspondents at the time.
Yeah.
And they came out and she was a special announcer. What? You ask why is Jeff Jarrett there? I don't know.
I thought, because, we got a thing saying, hey, coming up, we got Ken Shamrock versus The Rock for the IC title, and another match. I'm like, okay, cool. Then there was a commercial. Then we came back, and Jeff Jarrett comes out, and he starts singing. I'm like, okay, I don't know what this is, but whatever. Then, I forget who came out next, it was The Rock or Ken Shamrock, and I'm just like, wait.
It was The Rock because he was when he was in the Nation of Domination, so you hear the Nation of Domination. You can barely hear her talk.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what's with the sound.
And then I'm like, okay. And then Ken Shamrock came out, and I'm like, so wait, if this is their match, why is Jeff Jarrett even here?
Why is he here? What was going on? It's also weird because this is still Double J Jeff Jarrett before it becomes badass slapnuts Jeff Jarrett, where he teams with Owen Hart.
Yeah.
Which Owen Hart, God, who did you have a match with? It was a really good match.
It was another name.
Triple H.
Yes.
Triple H for the European title.
For the European title. Okay, yeah, this is my newbie outsider observation. It's the European title. This WrestleMania is in Massachusetts. Neither of these wrestlers are from Europe. I thought that was hilarious.
Well, when they showed the package, I forgot about this. You know how Triple H got the European title?
No.
Shawn Michaels was the European champion, because he did win it off the British Bulldog.
Okay.
So there was that. But then he won the WWF title. It's like, well, I don't need 2 of these titles, so here you go, Triple H.
Yeah.
That's how it happens. So it's even worse. Like, I miss the European title. It was a good, like, there used to be tiers. It's like, you got the European title, you got the IC title, and then you got the world title.
Yeah.
And I feel like we're kind of missing that.
I get that, but I also feel like the name doesn't make it make a lot of sense.
They should have kept with it's supposed to be like someone like
Intercontinental and United States makes sense, because 9 times out of 10, WWE's in the United States.
Yeah.
And, and then in NXT we have the North American Championship. Yeah. So, again, name-wise it makes sense.
But it was designed to be defended in Europe or by people of European descent. So.
Yeah.
And then they just immediately scrapped that.
Yeah. But it was a really good match.
Yeah. It's really funny because, like, again, this is transitional period, how they used to handle this. He wasn't just Triple H. He was Triple H, Hunter Hearst Helmsley.
Yeah.
Because they were transitioning. He still had the robe when he came out.
Yeah.
But he had Chyna with him.
Yeah.
It was always terrifying.
Yeah.
And she was handcuffed to Sergeant Slaughter, so I remember...
Commissioner Slaughter.
Yeah. I remember that. I also remember, I don't know if my friends told me this or just a rumor, like, that she was Slaughter's daughter because they both had the same chin. And I'm like, okay. And then she had surgery and got that,
Yeah.
So... But yeah, like, and she was a beast, and she pulled out some powder and, like...
From nowhere.
Yeah, and blinded him. But yeah, it's just one of those things like, man, we really lost him with Owen Hart. He was he was bleeding on his nose. He still, we don't stop for blood in the 90s, fuck you!
Yeah, it was a whole good match. It had some good storytelling. It had a moment where I, like, almost thought things were different because, Chyna was handcuffed to Commissioner Slaughter because she helped Triple H cheat the last time he fought Hart for the title. I think that's what the package was. So we had a moment where, like, Owen had Triple H in the sharpshooter, and Triple H was trying to go for the ropes, and Chyna still managed to grab Triple H's hand and put it on the ropes, and the ref saw that and told Owen to break the hold. And there was a moment where Commissioner Slaughter was pointing at the ref, trying to get his attention. I thought he was going to say, actually, she cheated.
Yeah.
But, nothing ever came of that. Or maybe, like, he didn't see Chyna put the hand down. He was trying to let the ref know, hey, his hand's on the rope. Break the hold. But...
Yeah. It's always feel like we're going to do something, but we don't.
Yeah.
But, I remember, again, bouncing around. Like, this is also, I forgot the era of unprotected headshots with chairs.
Oh, yeah.
And whenever Rock just slapped Ken Shamrock in the fucking face.
Yeah.
Full on with the steel chair. Because I think they also did that to Owen in this, too.
Yeah.
Man, like, it's hard to watch that now. I wince a lot.
Yeah.
Especially knowing what happened. Like, we didn't know much about concussions then.
Yeah. Yeah, speaking of how things are different, I'm pretty sure this has come up a couple times, but I mentioned, like, when something's outside the ring in modern WWE, it doesn't matter. But this time, especially with the steel steps, the wrestlers use the steel steps all the time. The refs never say anything about it. I think at least twice a wrestler uses steel steps, and the ref is either distracted and just didn't notice, so it never. So they made a point saying, "Oh no, the ref didn't see it, so using the steel steps was okay." And I'm just used to like, "Oh, why is this a problem?"
Well, that was Undertaker and Kane, their first climactic battle.
I want to say this happened. It happened in another one of this.
Maybe.
Too.
I just remember the Kane thing mostly because like Kane bashed Undertaker with it and dropped the steps, and the ref like, and he turns around. Well, just like, the steps are like right there. He uses the steps to get into the ring, and I'm like, what's like? Did you use those steps? Okay, well, I'm gonna keep my eye on you.
Yeah,
like it's so wrestling's ridiculous, but that's why we love it. Like, like this. Oh God, I missed this.
It's not a complaint as much as just funny.
Yeah, a lot of stuff happened outside of the ring too.
Yeah.
What was the match that was almost exclusively outside of the ring? Was that? Well,
that was the dumpster match. Was
it?
Yeah,
dumpster match.
Yeah.
But then there's also like a lot of like Austin and Shawn Michaels took out. Plays out like they should have been counted out.
Yeah.
I mean, like they went all the way back. The dumpster reappeared.
Yeah.
But yeah, the dumpster match with Chainsaw Charlie.
Yeah. At first I kind of rolled my eyes because I had the same issues with it as I did with the casket match way back when. It's like, oh, and not only they have to get in there, but they have to get the lid closed. And it just seems like too many steps to me. But it ended in a really creative way because they're just beating the hell out of each other. People are going in and out of the dumpster. They're pulling things out of the dumpster and beating the hell out of each other. How is Mick Foley still alive?
Right?
God bless him.
Yeah.
But
and he climbed a ladder for no reason. They were setting something up and so.
Yeah, that one took me a second to realize because I'm so used to like Money in the Bank and other stuff. Like I thought he was going for a title or something. I was like, wait, there's no title. What's he doing?
My guess is he's probably gonna jump because it was Cactus Jack and Chainsaw Charlie versus the New Age Outlaws before they joined DX.
Yeah.
And he went up on the ladder and Billy Gunn just pushed him down. And he and Billy Gunn were both on the ladder for some reason.
Yeah.
And then Chainsaw Charlie, Terry Funk, it was the whole thing. I don't understand it.
Yeah.
He got knocked in the ladder and they both fell down and they both broke the fucking door so you couldn't put him up. Yeah. And it's just it was a good spot, but it's one of those things clearly this was set up to do this spot because why do you have a ladder?
Yeah. Well, I actually really liked how this one ended because ends up going to the backstage area and they're in the parking garage. And at one point there's a forklift with the wooden slats on pats on the fork, and both the New Age Outlaws end up on the pallet. So Chainsaw gets the forklift up, drives them to another dumpster, and Mick Foley dumps them in, closes the dumpster, and then Chainsaw puts the pallet on top of the lid so they can't get out.
Yep, and they won.
And I was like, that's creative. That was really cool.
Yeah. But it was fun to see the dumpster reappear when Austin and Shawn were fighting.
Yeah.
It's, the main event, it's one of those things where, it's a shame they never got to do more matches after this because their styles, while radically different, really kind of mesh well. Yeah. But you got to think like Austin had broken his neck, and that's why he became the Brawler. So he's and Shawn is working hurt throughout this entire thing. His back, and then he talk about, oh, he does this. He's his back was hurting. I'm like, yeah, it was. It wasn't just from a bump. This is why this was his last match.
Oh.
Until he came back in 2000. It's so weird that someone who defined the Attitude, could embody the Attitude Era, had to miss all of it.
Oh, wow,
he was commissioner for a while, but he was not in-ring worker because his back was just fucked.
Yeah.
And even then, there was talk about he didn't want to drop the title to Austin.
Yeah.
When they had a thing where you see them backstage before they come out and see gorilla position. And I'm kind of looking because the legend is that Undertaker told Michaels, if you won't do the job, I'll do it for you. And as Michaels was going through, you can see Undertaker taping up his hands, which is really impressive after having just watched the match Undertaker had.
Yeah,
because he and Kane beat the hell out of each other.
They really did.
So I was oh, okay, and I couldn't see it, but that's why he did the job. I was also thinking, maybe Mike Tyson would have got involved, but I don't know how much he actually cares. But so I knew the swerve was coming, that he actually helped Austin. I didn't want to say anything, so I wanted your reaction to it.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't have a huge reaction, but I was just surprised because Shawn Michaels is clearly cheating, and Mike Tyson's like, what are you going to do?
They got rid of the bell. What will the keeper ring to stop the match now?
Yeah.
He hit him with the ring bell.
And then Austin gets a pin. Suddenly Mike Tyson's in the ring, and just really quick.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, that's literally what I said. It was cool. I liked it, but it was
I will say I had the Mandela Effect in my mind, because I thought he, when Michaels got back up and saw Tyson holding the 316 shirt, he's like, what the hell? Yeah. You're supposed to help me! Yeah. And I thought he, ripped the shirt off and there was a 316 underneath it. But it's oh no, that's when they had, Michaels had the WWF Attitude shirt, got ripped off, and it was a DX shirt. I, superimposed those things in my mind. So, and, this is so, it's really weird thinking how much of this was just Michaels Austin.
Yeah.
And then, Michaels had to, get his back fixed and basically retired for a while. We thought he was done until he came back. And so, it makes me wonder if they would have continued this feud, or would they have done what happened in history where it's Austin versus McMahon. Because, McMahon wasn't in there this much. This was before he was Mr. McMahon, because he screwed Brett. This was after the Montreal screw job. And before all of that happened. So it's that nigga there where he's on TV, but he's mostly feuding with Shawn Michaels.
Okay.
And he doesn't have much of a problem with Austin. Doesn't like Austin, but this is before the whole thing. Because I watched this, that's when I was tuned in with Austin McMahon. And that changed the business. Yeah. For better or worse. So it's also funny seeing someone in the crowd with a NWO shirt.
Yeah.
Because at the time that was you see it nowadays because they fucking own it. They don't care. Yeah. But they were it'd be like seeing someone with an AEW shirt now.
Yeah.
Whatever thing they have. Like, that was taboo back then.
Yeah.
So. Also, this is just a personal note. They had, all the weird signs in the background. Someone had some signs that Steph, know your role. And now, today, you know what you can immediately think of. But back then, we didn't know Stephanie McMahon existed. She didn't come in until the Ministry of Darkness stuff where Undertaker was stalking Vince's family.
Okay.
That's where she was introduced to the general public. So now my question is, well, who the hell is this Steph?
Yeah.
Why does this guy have a sign? What is happening?
Yeah.
I have stories about this that I need to know.
I know you're watching. You know those answers.
But yeah, like, this is definitely one, like, it is the Attitude Era, but it's not full swing. Like, it's definitely, like I have, like, the one before, I have, like, well, that's 14, I have 12, 13, 14. And, like, I remember just watching, like, 13, like, wow, it's completely different. Like, this is, like, once Austin takes over, Attitude is full swing.
Yeah.
This is definitely, like, starting it. You got the logo, you got all the Crash TV stuff. This is, like, before it really morphs into how it just exploded.
Yeah.
Like, once Austin took over, like, it exploded to what wrestling is. Like, NWO started it, Austin just took the ball and ran, which is funny because they say he took his ball and went home in 2002. But yeah, it's just always fun to go back and watch this era, watch this, like I said, like, you have Double J, who's still kind of a throwback, and then you have, like, Kane and all these more hardcore Smash Mouth guys.
Yeah.
It's really an interesting time in wrestling, and it's still fun. It still holds up.
Yeah,
like,
it was a really good show.
I know if we get more into the pay-per-views this era, or if we want to start watching random Raws, another show we'll try to do and probably fall out of schedule. Yeah. But once we start watching stuff, I know there's gonna be something. I'm like, oh, that's terrible. Oh, that didn't age well. But right now, my memories are still intact, and I'm still like, yep, this is why I got into wrestling.
Yeah, and I could totally see that. Like,
I wish they could go back to this style. Like, it's not like I want to bring back, like, all the political incorrect stuff and all that, but, like, just the consistency of the writing in the matches. Like, that's what I liked about the Attitude Era. Like, everyone felt like they had a part, even if they weren't part of the main events. Storylines would sometimes intersect in ways you wouldn't expect. There's just coherent...
Yeah, and then that's where, like, I mentioned in another video or two way back, like, I started watching clips on YouTube, and I became invested in the story. And where I'm really frustrated in WWE right now is a lot of the stories suck or don't go anywhere, and I just don't care.
Yeah.
So, yeah, anything to improve the stories would be great.
Yeah. So I'm sure, like, even if you watch this, you got kind of invested in these stories. Like, they really know how to pull you in. Like, again, like, Owen and Rock, that's all you got. But, like, damn, or Owen and Triple H and Rock and Shamrock. Like, it's like, oh, I'm invested in this. They told a match. They told a story with a match.
Yeah.
Like, that was when Rock was feuding with Farouk over who was leading the Nation of Domination. That's why Farouk came up, and, like, Ken's just doing this, like, help me. And Rock's like, nah.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Part.
So it's little things like that we're missing.
Yeah.
So, we rambled on a lot about that. Like, 4 stars. I'll give 4 stars.
Yeah, 4 stars.
So.
I can't even think of anything else to say,
we'll definitely be back with predictions for WrestleMania, whatever number we're on.
Yeah.
Nights 1 and 2.
30-something.
Yeah. We'll try to get back to doing more paper reviews. Like I said, I have an idea for a show where we just... Raw roulettes, where we just roll a dice and try to find out what episode of Raw to watch in what year and see how it changes.
Alright.
And the only thing I can say is R.I.P. to the bad guy.
Yeah. Before my time, but I'm feeling everybody's emotion about that, so... Yeah. Alright, see you guys.
See ya.